Hello, folks. Welcome back to another episode. Today, we're going to talk about crowdfunding projects. What we just got, what we're looking forward to that hasn't come out, and what we're looking forward to that's on the way in.
Yep.
Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me. We got stuff to talk about. I've been gone for about 2 weeks here since I got back this past Saturday. And during that time, like right before I left, I got Oathsworn, the second edition, second printing of that. And then during the 2 weeks I was gone, I got that Oceans Legendary Edition came in. I got Dwellings of Eldervale, and then right after I came back, Ork Quest came in. And then on top of that, I also got a couple things that were replacements for the broken pieces from Monster Hunter, and one of them wasn't even not broken. It's like I got a broken replacement. Their Steamforge just kind of seems to have some issues with their quality control on their miniatures. Yeah. But I've kind of had my hands full with a lot of things that have come in recently that are kind of all over the place in my house right now. I do have Ork Quest on the table, though. I've been trying to learn that actually today and getting through that a little bit. But that's kind of been my recent excitement anyways.
Yeah, and over on our organic cardboard, you can see unboxings and reboxings for some of that stuff.
Lots of unboxings. I got one more unboxing and probably one more reboxing to do. So sorry if it's just a bunch of that in a row, but I just had a bunch that I wanted to show off. And Ork Quest in particular deserves probably a reboxing video for it as well, because it's kind of confusing. But yeah, I've got those on the channel as well.
So which of those new things that you got are you the most excited to try? I know which one I'm most excited to play of yours.
Honestly, it's kind of hard to say, but the one that I was most focused on wanting to get out immediately was for whatever reason was Ork Quest.
You've been talking about that game nonstop for months.
I don't know what it is about that. I guess maybe just because it looked a little bit easier to get out on the table and get started with the whole list of stuff that I've got to go through right now. And Oathsworn, I really I don't know. I may try to get that in as a multiplayer game, more so than just going straight into it solo. I'm not sure with that, but Ork Quest looks like one that would be a lot quicker for me to kind of get started with. It's a little more simpler of a game. But yeah, that's kind of the one. I guess that's the one I'm most excited because that's the one I started with on getting out, and that's what I'm working my way through right now. And Ork Quest, I probably shouldn't be talking about it as much as I am, because it's not gonna. I think it was just a one print run through.
Really?
Monolith Games picked this game up.
Is it a reprint?
No. This I think it was a French guy. I cannot remember his name off the top of my head. He started this campaign in 2019 or 18. No, it was 2018.
Okay.
So he puts this campaign out on Kickstarter, and then 5 years later, it's finally getting delivered, and it was because
it's been that long.
His original, it's the first game he made. It's like a passion project of his. Somebody that's working really hard to make as good of a game as he can, and he ran into just too many funding issues, but he never quit trying to make it happen. And then eventually Monolith Games picked it up, and so now Monolith Games he already had everything done when they picked it up. They just produced it for him. And so it took I think it was less than a year after Monolith put it out for another Kickstarter. And then I think they just couponed in everybody that had originally backed it, if they were still there. I don't know if I would have stuck around if a game was taking 5 years to produce.
Thank God there was enough interest, or at least, or at least maybe good enough game that Monolith picked it up and just kind of carried it on the goals.
According to his update about it, they were just immediately like, we want to do that. They kind of approached him and were the most involved with wanting to get that game produced. And it's just a silly orc
Isn't it like a Mario Kart or something?
No. We're getting confused with the dungeon cart thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Ork Quest is kind of like the orc family of goblins and hobgoblins and whatever other little gremlin-y type characters, little trolls and leprechauns that work together as like the bad guys normally, but those are the heroes in this game. But they still kind of have that bad guy theme to them, and so it's a little bit of like a silly sort of a dungeon crawler. It's kind of like, at least the maps I've seen are kind of like, not so much of these big dungeons that you're going through, but maybe more like towns that you're pillaging and kind of going through. And you've got this silly like god called Badass that they're trying to like get accolades with that allows them to power themselves up. And it's a bunch of just silly little events. Like every time you get done with one of the orcs' turns, they have to draw an event card, and the event cards can be silly things like, oops, I tripped, and your character has to move 2 spaces forward, and if they run into any obstacles, then they shoot the alert level up. And if they run into one of the other people, you both take damage. And so there's just like bumbling orc activities. And then sometimes they'll draw an event card where they just automatically do damage to one of their buddies next to them, like they just get pissed off and hit one of them. So it's just silly stuff like that.
It sounds very orky.
Yeah, and so if you like orcs, which I do, then it's kind of that kind of game. Just that you can be on the other side if you'd like.
Well, I didn't get nearly as much in as you did, but I got some stuff on the way. So I've got a Kion and mystthea solo packs. So now I can play it alone, which is great because no one ever wants to play these games with me. They're kind of like weird.
They look really cool. These are the ones
art is superb.
Yeah.
And the mystthea is sort of an area control game. I've got like 100 of those.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but it is different. It is kind of a deck builder with a tableau and stuff like that, and some area control, and you can move the areas around. They're little floating islands that you can move around.
Yeah.
There's monsters that go around on it.
Yeah, and I really want to play it actually after you showed it to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, at some point I'm gonna.
Well, we'll definitely play it. And with this, you can add it in as a third player. So we're always it's usually Owen and I playing. So these games that can add in another like AI third player kind of helps make it a little bit more interesting with the area control. Now this one is a Kion, is the follow up to mystthea, and it's got it's about pick up and deliver and that sort of thing. And this again adds another person that you can play and make that an interesting either a third player or as a solo.
Yeah, that's really nice to have. I mean, I love to have a solo option in games, and so that would have been an immediate back for me if I had those games.
Yeah,
I'll probably never buy them because Sean's got them already. They're big games.
It was a pretty reasonable buy. You can get both of these, and one of these has a mat in it. They both have a space for a mat. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you gotta have some neoprene, right?
I usually pass on neoprene unless it fits in the box, which fits in the box.
Yeah, it fits in this little.
It's not that bad. Now these are the ones that you can actually combine together too and play at the same time.
That's right.
Well. So
I haven't done it yet, but you can take mystthea and Kion and put them together and make a game. And what's funny is it kind of completes the story because Kion is everybody mining these materials at the bottom, and mystthea is all these islands that float around because of all the materials that they're mining. And then when you play the games together, all those islands fall to the ground, and it becomes a co-op tower defense game.
Yeah.
And all the monsters are coming off the islands and stuff, and you're trying to keep them away.
Now, is it just the 2 games that go together? Was there a third game?
There's actually 2 other kinds of games, right? So one is Volfurion that we played together.
Right.
And that takes place in the universe, and you can use the Volfurion model in all of these games, but it's not tied in the way these 2 are. And the other game is something I haven't played, which is like they've got a RPG world set for all this stuff. So apparently you can play this as a role-playing game.
So but there's only those 2 games that do the mixing and stuff, and then you just have the other one is
the Voltron other one.
It's kind of a what do you call it? A spin-off.
Yeah.
Cool.
But it's Taboola Games. I really like a lot of the stuff that they put out. So, although their rule books are really hard to read.
Yeah, it definitely looks neat. I do want to get that out at some point. So, there's very cool miniatures for that game.
So my next two deliveries, I'm getting the Marvel Zombies, the second wave. I'm doing that on purpose.
Yeah.
The second wave of Marvel Zombies, because I couldn't afford the shipping for the 2-wave shipping.
Yeah.
It was a lot, but I'm finally getting Marvel Zombies and the X-Men one. So I've got both two core boxes, and then two. I kept myself to just the Sentinels and the Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's only because I wanted to paint them.
Yeah. Well, they're pretty cool. Well, you need a Groot, right?
You gotta have a Groot.
Gotta have a Groot. Everybody's got a Groot these days. So when is that getting delivered though?
That one is on boats, and it's like hopefully, or part of it is docked already, and I think some more is coming into the U.S. in just a few days or a few weeks. The other thing that's gone all the way through customs and is about to fulfill right now is Unmatched.
The case set?
Secret Adventures? Something.
Oh, that's the one that's like the where you're actually going on
It's the co-op Unmatched, where you play against the Mothman or the Martians.
Okay, but are they still one-off battles that you're kind of doing, or are you going on an adventure? I'm trying to think of what's that like.
Oh, Unmatched Adventures.
Makes me think of Role Player, and then they had Role Player Adventures or something. They did some kind of thing, where you could kind of play.
That is true. They did. It is a similar naming scheme. I don't think it's like a campaign or anything, but I could be wrong. I haven't actually. I was just at the time I was buying anything Unmatched. I mean, this was a year ago or so. Actually, it hasn't been all that long since it was funded.
The completionist dilemma, especially when you already have the rest of the set, you got to get the rest.
I have broken it. I have with the Marvel stuff. I'm just sick of Marvel stuff. I don't want any more superhero things. I maybe except for Marvel Zombies and the huge boxes I'm about to receive. That's fine. But I'm not actively seeking out all the Unmatched things. I feel like I got enough. I filled up my big box and stuff, and I even found more downstairs I forgot that I bought. I bought that Genie and Houdini set. Played it once on the couch and put it in the little cubby, and I found it the other day. I was like, oh, I do have that.
And going along with that same theme of completionist issues, so one that's pretty far out that I'm looking at is I've got a $1 back on it right now. Is Sword and Sorcery's Abyssal Legends, and that's I've already got too much of that stuff because I got the second set, and this is the last thing they're making, and it was just one expansion. I mean, it's not like a when they did Ancient Chronicles, it was like the whole game all over again, and this one, thankfully, is just a one-box expansion with maybe a couple little other extras in it, and I'm like, God, do I really need that or not? But I've already got all the rest of it. I spent a lot of time early on in the hobby collecting all of that. Now I'm I almost feel obligated to buy that, but I don't. Maybe I won't.
Is that current happening now?
They had already finished their campaign at this point, and so it's not. I don't know if it's quite in Pledge Manager yet or not. But I've been just trying to kind of keep an eye on it. But I don't know. It's just another one that's in reality, I don't need it, but it's just that little extra chunk to fully, because that's all they're going to make for that game. So, and that's Aries Games that does that, and they're a reputable company. They make good stuff. Sword and Sorcery is an excellent game, if not quite fiddly and very cumbersome to play, but may or may not continue with that back. But I probably shamefully will.
Yeah, and we're both backing Beast.
Yeah.
Are you still backing?
So you did. Oh yeah, because you're just deluxifying your original set of Beast, correct?
Right. So I got some sticker shock because the original copy, I got with the nice acrylic stuff and everything ended up being $77 with sleeves and all and everything.
Fairly reasonable for what that game was.
And shipping, on top of it. So and I was real excited, and when we got it, I was not disappointed. I haven't gotten to play it enough though. I have trouble getting it to the table.
Yeah,
and there's you tend to want to play as the beast all the time when you're teaching the rules.
Right.
And so I haven't gotten through that threshold with all my friends.
Yeah.
When we've played it twice. I've showed a couple of my friends once.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I don't feel like I've fully explored it. And then here we come with this new one. And so they've changed the tiers around a lot. In fact, when it first came out, you were on vacation, and I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah,
Because
it was very confusing the way they had it set up at first. It's still kind of confusing, but they do have some walkthroughs. They have to basically give you a walkthrough thing to read through so you can figure out how to navigate their
and it was so simple before.
Convoluted set.
I think it gets complicated because a lot of people are reordering, like us.
And they're trying to please everybody. They're trying to please everybody through these bundles and what they're actually wanting, because some people don't want miniatures, but they love their acrylics from the original set.
Right.
Which is kind of where I'm at. I want the acrylics, but I don't want the miniatures.
Well, I was kind of torn. I'm not sure I want the miniatures. I kind of want the miniatures, but I don't want the miniatures. I kind of want the new stuff, but feel like maybe I can get it later. And every now and then I experiment with that. I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to not buy it. Yeah. Oh, trying not to buy it.
It's a gamble.
But what I'm doing instead is going to be almost as expensive as if I just done the basic with acrylics. I was thinking maybe get the deluxe box. I don't know if I don't.
You don't play it enough to get the deluxe box out, or
yeah, and
it does look really cool. The deluxe box is like wooden, really nice printed wooden like the kind of like the
laser cut.
Yeah, everything fits in really well, and it's really pretty.
It looks good. Yeah, it looks good. But really, the only thing I had to do to make the original one work was cut out the card part.
Yeah, and I didn't even have to. There is a way to manage with the original insert and still be able to fit everything
with the sleeves.
Even with the sleeves, in a reason, it's not perfect, but it's reasonable. It's like you kind of have to just fit things in places that'll go.
Well, the super easy way is to cut that piece out.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
And then the cards go right there where they should go, and everything's still kind of the same.
Yeah. So yeah.
But no, I could pay. Why not pay another $50 or so and get a wood version?
I mean, it is a really pretty set. It's kind of reminiscent of how
it is pretty.
Tiny Epic. The Tiny Epic series, I don't know if it might have actually been another company that was doing this, but it was okayed or licensed or whatever.
Yeah, I think they had a license, and I was going to back.
Yeah,
I was going to back that too. But what do you remember how much they were?
They were pretty pricey.
They were a lot,
but they were really nice and pretty wooden boxes that are going to be a lot more durable than. Because they just straight up replaced the original cardboard boxes.
They were nice too.
Ones. But yeah, if you had a lot of them and you were trying to replace a lot of your games with them, it was going to be pretty pricey for these little. They're fun games, but I mean, again, it's kind of how often do you get it out and
well, that's the thing is with their expansions, they're just as big as the original game. Like those little boxes, so you end up with tons of little boxes where. Yeah. One decent sized box and it would have been okay.
That's true. Yeah. Sometimes 3D printed inserts will let you get away with some stuff, but not on all of them. So
but for $2, you can go to your local discount store and buy a shoe box and put all that in there too.
That is true.
And that works just fine.
Plastic tote. Yeah.
Go to a color Xerox and get some art and just glue it to the top or something.
Right.
Well,
so you ended up going though with this full deluxeified set.
Well,
of the original.
I'm getting the miniatures. Mm-hmm. I'm getting the. I think there was something else to make acrylic, like the.
The towers. I think maybe
the towers, and also those little tokens, that have the different elements,
which is nice. Yeah, I did want that too. Which that came with some set. I think if you did the basic, I got basically everything that was new, and then I got the acrylics. And I think those tokens with whatever bundle I got, those additional acrylic tokens came with that. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm kind of getting to that point where I'm starting to be much more judicial about when I actually want miniatures for these games. Even though they look cool, they're awesome, but they take up a lot of space, and I'm running out of a lot of space. And
I'm still on the fence about the miniatures, but I think I probably will just, if I get them, it'll be just for the original game.
Yeah. Do you still get the free? There's like a free thing for following it. Like there was it was one of the.
It seems so. Yeah. It seems
so,
like you still get that little free expansion.
which that really pushes you to feel like you have to back it too. If you're an original backer, you had an extra little mini expansion. I think it was like playing through one of the backgrounds of one of the more twisted heroes or whatever, or Asmeria maybe, or whoever it was. It was one. I think it might have been playing through the storyline of like the character who's missing an arm and has like a metal arm,
right?
And the other one that there's some kind of interplay between that and one of the monsters. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, if you were a previous backer, you got to get that for free. So that was one of the things where I felt like, man, I really need to just go ahead and back it so I can get that free stuff.
Are you getting all the rest of it with the acrylics?
Yeah, I'm getting all the new stuff, all the new gameplay stuff, and the acrylics, and I think whatever that came out to be, and they have listened to people. As convoluted as the original the original campaign started out as. They did come back listening to people, and one of my complaints was, I don't want to pay for an art book. I hate when they say, oh, it comes with the bundle, but it doesn't nothing's free. It increases the price of that bundle for them to produce, and they pass that price on to you. And I as much as your artwork is pretty, I'm never going to look at a separate book of your artwork when I have the actual game with the artwork in it. So I don't really know why I think it's just them kind of tooting their own horn because they're like so proud of their art that they want to make an art book. A lot of games do this, and it's completely unnecessary.
I think it's something that's easy to do. Like you've already got all the artwork produced, you could do all these things with it. And one of the things you could do is print an art book that's kind of relatively inexpensive, and that's just something to throw in to make something feel more deluxe. But to me is. Yeah, the original bundle if you got everything I got, just like that first campaign at $77. If I did the exact same thing in the new campaign, it was like $127, or I think it was like 120 something pounds, which is like $1 plus a bit.
Yeah,
and that fluctuates a little bit, but so it seemed just real expensive. I'm still going to end up spending over $100.
Yeah,
and I'm not even getting. That's if I get miniatures and stuff.
Yeah.
And to me, I played the game maybe 5 or 6 times. I'm like, do I do that again?
I really like the game a lot. It's one of those games that will sit on your shelf for a while probably, but it's like Mage Knight's a good example. That's a even less played example because it's so heavy to get out. But I'll never get rid of Mage Knight because I really like that game a lot. But it's really heavy to get out. Beast isn't quite that heavy to get out. It's just better if you have like at least 2 or 3 other people playing with you. And like he said, we don't tend to have that. And it's okay as a 2-player experience. It's really better as like a 3 or 4-player experience, I think. Because it's kind of complicated to figure out how your characters work individually, and then.
Well, if you play 2-player, you're playing like two-handed, so like
right,
you're playing a whole 2 characters at once.
Yeah, so it gets a little much, but.
That's a little harder to do with that game than it is, say, like Zombicide or something where everybody kind of does the same sort of things. Like, your character is kind of unique, and they have a unique kind of deck of cards.
Yeah.
Plus, you have to do the draft in kind of a weird way, too. So.
Yeah. Well, so one of the other campaigns that we were looking for, well, we just learned about it a couple days ago, or maybe you learned about it before I did. I don't know. You'd already had it backed when I heard about it. Is this small series. It's the tiny, let me pull it up. It's the tiny game series from Envy Born Games. This includes a 3-pack, and one of the main reasons why we were so interested in it is actually one of our friends has designed one of the games, which is really cool to know one of the game designers that's actually getting a game produced.
That is nice.
Yeah. So it's 3 games in the series. Apparently, Sirens is the one of the games that is getting the most attention. But honestly, the Defrag game, I think Defrag is the game that our friends Brandon and Mandy McCool have created is it seems like the more kind of like in depth. I mean, they're all fairly light games, but it's the most like puzzly, like real gamey kind of game to play. The other two are kind of like just fun fillers. And after looking at the videos of both of those, I was like, oh yeah, that look a lot of fun, like a nice filler game to throw in. So I went ahead and did the full back of all three of them. I think you did as well.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
They look fun. I like little
Yeah.
games like that.
Yeah, just light little games to and defrag is kind of like most. I think there is a two-player option with it, but it's mostly a solo puzzle game that you can kind of play on your own if you just want to burn 30 minutes or whatever on lunch and have something to fiddle with.
The theme is defragging your computer.
Yeah, I guess we should say that. So it's a very exciting theme of defragging your 1995 computer or whatever, Windows 95 computer. So for you young guys out there that don't know what defragging is, I barely know what defragging is, even though we used to have to do it all the time on our computers.
You'll never know the hell.
It was a very slow process. You'd send it to your computer when your computer would get junked up with its memory because it didn't know how to store things in the most efficient way, which I guess they figured that out over the different Windows series.
Contiguous blocks.
Yeah, it basically like it condenses all your memory to one area and makes it where the computer knows how to like more efficiently. It's probably even worse.
It just reorganizes things a bit. It's not.
But yeah, defrag's basically just this puzzly little setup where you're going to be rearranging cards and manipulating them based off of what's on any one of the particular ones, and you're kind of spacing it out the way they're laid down, and you're able to score points if you manipulate your cards properly. So it's basically just a logic puzzle kind of game. It looked pretty fun though for a little puzzler. If you just want something to just work your mind a bit, and then the other two were just kind of fun filler games, nothing too serious though. That 16 candies I thought was going to be really like, I was like, this doesn't look appealing at all to me. And I watched somebody play it, I was like, oh, that actually looks pretty fun for what it is, but super light, just quick, easy game.
Yeah, I'm excited to see those.
But, Siren's just pretty compared to the other three. I think that's the main thing with it. It's a really pretty setup.
I'll agree. Yeah, I like the looks of all of them. They all look like they could be a lot of fun. So it'll be interesting to see how they turn out.
Yeah.
How do you have any that are like way overdue?
Way overdue.
I've got one.
Not really. Your Marvel thing. That took a while, didn't it? The zombies.
Really no. Simon's kind of right on their schedule.
Okay, so they were planning for it, but it did take didn't it? Hasn't it been quite a while to get Marvel Zombies out?
It's been a bit, but keep in mind that they put the main product out like 6 months ago. So it's been out for a long time.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm not sure. 6 months may be too soon.
So
but sometime early summer or something that the original wave came out.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just waiting on them to finish all the rest of it and send it all out in one big bulk.
Sense, yeah.
And all the Galactuses have already arrived in all the places. I was gonna get that Galactus and just decided not to.
I don't even know what that is.
Galactus is the big purple guy that eats planets.
Yeah, I feel like I remember you telling me about that now.
But
no, I don't really have anything that's too overdue. I mean, not board game. There's the only other things this isn't even worth talking about really is a 3D printer setup. But other than that, though, there's not really been anything that's really hanging out there. It seems like all games take a little longer than they originally planned.
Well, yeah, but I'm sick to death of them just flat out lying.
Oh yeah.
Because how many games do you back? They're like, oh, we'll have it by December this year. And you're like, no, they never ever will do that.
I would rather them just say, hey, it's going to be 2 years before we have this to your door, and it.
Well, in a way, it's like it kind of sets that trust thing right away.
Yeah.
If it looks like a realistic goal, and I think I've only gotten in a creator's face about it once.
But his face. How dare you make me wait?
There's a submarine game. Well, it's one of those that said
it's manipulative. They kind of it's a
Deep Shelf. Deep Shelf said, and this was they said that they would deliver in December or February, which is kind of a big margin. But they said December on their Kickstarter. And they are, I think they're going into production now. So there's no way they're going to make it. But boy, they're a lot further along than I thought they would be. I was like, you mean December 2025?
Yeah, because that wasn't that long ago that you backed that.
No, that was like in the, it was in the summer at some point. It wasn't long ago at all.
So they should have just played it out a little further. You know, it's better that they push it out a little further on your expectations and then come back if they're able to get it done quicker.
Yeah, why don't they realize that? I mean,
they do this to try to, like, you know, sometimes they'll put a timeline out like early, like even sometimes before the campaign's done, and it does feel manipulative. It's the same thing that you find, like, I hate seeing when games try to do that thing, funded in 30 seconds or whatever, because it's a $5,000, you know, I'm exaggerating, but like, you know, $10,000 to produce Frosthaven or something, which they didn't. I don't think they did that.
But they needed like 40,000 in reality.
They were actually really reasonable. I think they had their last campaign. I think they actually had a pretty high amount that they were expecting, and they put out there before. But like a lot of games do that, and it's a little bit manipulative because it's trying to make you think, oh yeah, like this game's great, everybody loves it because it's back so quickly. And it's really that I've seen where they actually mystthea, I think, was one of those where they had surpassed their amount that was, you know, the funding goal, and then like for quite a bit, and then they closed the campaign saying that they didn't make enough to finish the game because they lied about what their funding goal actually was.
One of the ones that I backed, so I went through this thing, Castles of Mad King Ludwig and the other Castles of Burgundy.
Yeah.
Suddenly
all
forgot.
the castles.
There's a bunch of games that in Raw. There's a bunch of games that were
the
like
White Castle's going to come out too. You can get that. That's
White Castle Crush.
It's not burgers, but it's a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Come on. So I was buying all these games that were proven games that got deluxeified and redone into crowdfunding, and so I also got Robinson Crusoe. Mm-hmm. A very difficult solo game. Have you ever played it?
No, I've not.
It looks cool, and it looks neat, and this one's got like really cool miniatures. Mm. So I got it. Yeah. But it is way overdue, like way overdue, and people are just about if you could riot in the comments, that's be very disgruntled.
Rabble.
And I kind of feel bad for Ignacy, the guy that's presents.
Got themselves in a bind. Yeah.
Well, like he'll go to show something, like here's the mat that it comes with, and it's going to come folded like this. People flipping out. It's like, no, it is safe. If you just fold it like that, they'll travel just fine. No, you can roll the mat. And they might be right. Like, I mean, I'm not even saying they're wrong. I was like, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But, so, it's one thing after another. But I think what they wanted, this one's going to be released in a lot of different languages. Mm-hmm. And I think what happened was they were kind of holding off till all the different languages were ready and proofread and stuff like that. So proofreading one set of rules is probably really difficult. Proofreading multiple sets of rules, but I do think that it's a little cheaper when you print things to just print it all. So that if versus like a print run for this language, a print run for that, if you're just like throw them all and do them all at the same time, I think there's a significant cost savings. So I have no idea, but my guess is that they waited until all those things were done to print it out, and that's caused a significant delay. The plastics, the plastic miniatures and all those parts of the thing have been done for months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So, I mean, they're having to cut costs as much as possible. Get these games are expensive to produce. So, I mean, sometimes you just have to, throw them a bone and give them some time. But yeah, how long's it been? How long's it been?
It was supposed to come in like January.
Yeah, well,
and that was late. Yeah. But I mean, people have been looking for that to be finished. I think they finished doing the miniatures and stuff like really early this year and stuff. So
was that his first game? Has he done
no?
This before?
Ignacy, no. Portal Games has made
Yeah.
So many games.
Yeah. No, I don't have anything that's too late. Everything's a little late. It's always a little late.
I don't mind a little late.
I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm actually surprised when these games come at the time that they say they're going to. Like, I don't know.
Tiny epics tend to come early sometimes.
Tiny epics are set up for it. You know, one game that, you know, like some people, well, you know, STONEMAIER, they do, they just tend to produce their games, and so they already have them out. And sometimes these Kickstarters come out like Tiny Epic essentially has their game like made, and then they put a campaign out for it, and then they actually produce like fully produce it or whatever. But I think they already have like the game essentially produced, like made, like created, and all the content for it, and then they just have to go send it off, and you're pretty much just waiting on the production time for those. So those are really quick to turn around with.
I'm still holding up for Tiny Epic Multiverse, where they just take all their other game components and put it into one game.
No. That would be horrible. I don't know.
Well, they wouldn't have to. They wouldn't have to
So
produce anything.
convoluted.
They just go scavenge through all the
Like,
extra parts for all their other games.
You gotta mix Tiny Epic Western with
the pirates and
with Tiny Epic Quest, and oh god, it'd be terrible. Yeah.
And then the zombies.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. The only other one that I'm really looking forward to is actually just a pre-order, and that's APIARY from I mentioned STONEMAIER.
Yeah.
Pre-produces these games a lot of times, and they put them out for just pre-order off of their website, and then you get them in like a month. They did that with Expeditions. I'm actually really glad I didn't back Expeditions. Scythe is one of both of our favorite games, and then they had Expeditions came out a few months ago or so, and they had a pre-order for that, and you got it like a month or so afterwards. And from what I've listened to, I'm more and more glad that I did not get that, because it doesn't sound like the right game for me, or probably for a lot of people. But APIARY looks really cool, and they just finished their pre-order sale. They had a 5-day sale for that, and
this
so that's going to be
Bees?
That's going to be in like a week, 1 to 3 weeks or something like that, I think, before that gets sent out. And yeah, it's a silly theme of being I guess the world, like, I don't know, humans died out and bees rose up, working together to spread their honey across the galaxy, so they became spacefaring, and
bees in space.
Bees in space. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I don't know how you could go wrong with that.
Really interesting Euro mechanism, kind of point scoring. You know, every game's different kind of scoring runs that you're doing, and these different pathways. It looks really neat.
When do you get it?
I don't know exactly, because they had like a window, I think, and I also joined because it was basically free at the time to do it. I joined their Champions program that they do. You can spend like $15 to get a membership for a year, and then you get like 20% off all your, I think it's all the games, including pre-orders, but they also will prioritize your shipments to whenever you buy something from them in the region. Like, you'll get your stuff before people who aren't champions get their stuff. So I don't know if that'll help me get it quicker or not. We'll see, but I'll definitely be opening it up as soon as I get it. So.
Less than champions need not apply.
Yeah, it does look really cool, but I think that's about it for I've got.
Well, that's cool. You know, I like it sometimes when you buy stuff and then I get to play it first.
Exactly. It's nice. It's nice to have, especially when people have like slightly different tastes, and so you can get like a more rounded experience like that. So I feel like you tend to. Well, sometimes we grab the same stuff and it's like, well, we both want it. I want it. We'll both get it, you know. But often enough, Sean's buying stuff that I'm not going to back, and then I'm buying stuff that he's not backing, and so that's really nice to be able to share stuff that way.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty cool, and you brought a lot of games in that I've been excited to learn about.
Yeah, yeah, it's always fun.
Well, folks, thank you so much for joining us. This kind of a little impromptu discussion about some Kickstarter games and some things we're excited about, some things we're waiting on, etc. If you'd like to join us, we'd love to have you come visit our channels. Please subscribe and please click like so the algorithm likes us all the more and we can share this message with more folks. Until next time, enjoy your games, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.